All right. Well, greetings, everyone. We are expecting more people, and we've got some people live on our YouTube channel. Hopefully, I've been praying to the electronic gods and to Paulson, our whiz kid here, who has been doing a great job. So what we're going to be doing tonight is, first I want to thank all the people who pulled this together. Thank you, Shannon Taylor, Ken Mitchell, who's here. Let's see, John Baber, is he here yet? Nope, not yet. And Michaela? Nope, not yet. Paulson, of course. We've got Melinda Genda, who is doing some photography for tonight. Marla and Arquita at the back desk there doing yeoman's work, or women's work. So this is what we're going to be doing tonight. Is we're not going to have a formal business meeting like we do at our usual monthly meetings, and I know that makes you very, very sad. And we do need to be out of here by about 8:15, so you can actually have time to go home and enjoy family and TV and whatnot. The main focus, of course, will be listening to Shannon Taylor, who is one of our 2 Democratic candidates for Virginia Attorney General. We did send emails to all of the people who had signed up for this event last Wednesday, soliciting some questions. So we're not going to actually ask people to give us questions from the audience tonight, because a number of you have already given us questions, and we're going to use that list, which we forwarded to you. Yeah. That'll just streamline things. We also have other candidates. Well, Ken Mitchell, hopefully, there's Michaela. All right. And John Baber, I think is planning on coming as well. I asked them, they actually signed up on their own just to attend. But when I saw that, I said, well, why don't we see if we do have time, maybe they would like to do some speaking as well. So I think that's a nice idea. Michaela is running for our House of Delegates representative in the General Assembly from District 36. John Baber is running for Staunton Commonwealth's attorney. And of course, Ken Mitchell was a previous candidate for the congressional seat currently held by he who shall not be named. Ken cannot officially declare any kind of candidacy until January 2026. So those are just the rules. And so he's pretending for right now, and hopefully he will make it official at that time. We will have a recording of this, all these speeches and the fun we're having today on our YouTube channel, so that people in the future can look at it again, hopefully before the June 17th primary. So other announcements. Early voting is open right now. The primary election is June 17th. If you don't know who you're going to vote for, I can't tell you that. But on our website, and tomorrow morning, there will be links to our website with links to the different candidates' web pages and Blue Sky pages as well. So you can educate yourself and show up on June 17th or early vote. All right. Now, can anybody tell me what the biggest upcoming protest that's going to be happening, say, in June? I think that's wrong, actually. I think actually June 17th, the primary, is the biggest opportunity for a protest across Virginia. All right, think about it this way. Normally primaries are snooze fests. very low turnout. But what would happen if all the Democrats in Virginia all of a sudden showed up, and what kind of a warning to MAGA would that send if we set records at the primary? So that's why it's very, very important to go ahead and vote in this primary. Yes, thank you, Alice. So we are working on a June 17th protest, details pending. But tomorrow, Bath County, a bunch of people from Bath County are coming to join our protest in front of Ben Klein's office tomorrow afternoon. I just found out about this today, so I will be sending that information out first thing in the morning. So keep an eye on your inbox. We are planning another. I'm sorry? Oh, yeah. I don't know if there are that many residents in Bath County, but we'll see. We are planning another candidate event for June 10th. Senator Ghazala Hashmi, who is running for lieutenant governor, will be the star, and we'll have more details at a later date. So, in the meantime, let's go ahead and get started with Shannon Taylor.
And of course, I'm not like this is my first rodeo with a mic, right? I will try to gosh, we have good sound too, and I like that. Well, good evening, Staunton and Augusta County Democrats. It is really great to be with you all again here this evening. I am Shannon Taylor. I am the Henrico County Commonwealth's Attorney, and I do want to be your next Virginia Attorney General. And it was wonderful to be with you all back at, I call it the cookout, we've called it the picnic, when we were over there at the park, and the weather was really quite lovely. It was wonderful to be able to meet many of you there. It's great to see many of you all again. And I want to emphasize what Christopher's been talking about the importance of this primary and this election. Everyone here in this room, you're either very diehard, great Democrats, or you're caring about democracy, or really both, right? You are people who are asking yourselves about what is going on in this nation and what we are seeing unfolding, happening at both the state and the federal level. And while we can talk about what we thought about the current administration of Governor Youngkin and Attorney General Jason Miyares before January 21st, we certainly have a lot to say about it now. And what we've been seeing happening on the national level is we've been seeing Donald Trump executing these executive orders, handing them down, and as if they are his edict, right? Remember, executive orders are not laws. They are merely a statement about what that executive wants to do in time, which means they don't go unchecked. But we have an attorney general right now who seems to think that that's what he should be doing, is unchecking, right? He's either allowing the executive orders to come down without constitutional challenge, without legal challenge, or he finds an executive order he particularly wants to get involved in, and he doubles down with the hatred and vitriol to threaten organizations and institutions that if they don't follow that executive order, terrible things are going to happen. So, if we are going to have somebody who's either not acting or double down with a threatening, and we know that the result is the same, Virginia's getting hurt, well, by golly, it's time for a change. And that is why I am running to be the Virginia Attorney General. And I say that because I know that when you're going up against an incumbent in the general election, we have got to have the best Democratic candidate to take him on and take him out. Now, why do I say that when you get to that June 17th primary, whether it be you're filling out your ballot at home or you're doing that early voting or you come in on June 17th through your polling precinct, and when you get that ballot, you see Shannon Taylor listed first, and I want you to fill that ballot, that bubble out. Why is that? Because, ladies and gentlemen, I have the experience. And when I say experience, it is much more than that. It is the breadth of my experience. It is the fact that I have proven leadership, I have proven fighting ability, I have proven electability. And I say that because when I stand here before you, it's hard to believe I've almost been 30 years practicing law. And with the exception of 3.5 years when I was doing criminal defense work, the rest of my entire career has been in public service. And when I had that option, when I was approached in 2011 to run to be the Henrico County Commonwealth's attorney, does anybody remember who was the majority leader? You remember a gentleman by the name of Eric Cantor? Eric Cantor was from Henrico County, and he was majority leader, so that gives everybody here in this room an idea, and those people who are watching virtually, gives everybody an idea about how red Henrico County was. And so when I was asked to run, and not unlike Madam Vice President, getting in there at the last and people saying, you're not going to be able to win, well, guess what I did? And I beat the Republicans back in 2011. Republicans thought it was a fluke. They challenged me again in 2015. Guess what? I beat that guy too. And I went ahead, and not only did I win those two races, I then won again in 19 and 2023. And as Henrico County was trending from red to blue, that just meant I got more and more support from my constituents. So 4 times beating back Republicans in Henrico County. Electability. Proven leadership. That being in and out of the courtroom. Proven leadership meaning that when I'm in that courtroom and I am fighting for the victims of a case or putting together the case against the Commonwealth, where the Commonwealth is the victim, I am leading a group. I'm leading a group of investigators, and we're leading a group of my assistants. And we're putting together our heads, and we're putting together an approach where we know we're going to do the best job possible to hold folks accountable. We did it in 2020 when I prosecuted the Klansman in my county, when he took his truck and drove it through the Black Lives Matter march. And I did it again when the judge called me up and said, Ms. Taylor, will you be the special prosecutor? And I was asked to serve as the prosecutor against one of the white nationalists who marched on the lawn at the University of Virginia that Friday night of that terrible weekend at the University of Virginia. And showed that proven leadership again on the date of the Dobbs decision, when I got on the national stage to say I would never, ever prosecute a woman and her doctor for making that very personal choice, just like we're happening in Texas. Now, it's also nice to know that being the elected Commonwealth Attorney since 2012, I've been running one of the largest Commonwealth Attorney's offices in the Commonwealth. So I've been a boss. I've managed people. I've fostered a positive work environment. And if you're going to be the head of one of the largest law firms here in the Commonwealth, running the Attorney General's office, I think that's probably a good skill set to have. Because the 400 plus men and women who work in that office deserve that type of good leadership. So I'll tell you, Staunton and Augusta Democrats, I really think that when we are talking about what we're going to do, and you know that I've got the breadth of the experience, you know that I've got the ability to beat back the Republicans, and you know that because of a 30-year career, I've probably handled thousands of cases and hundreds of jury trials, You know that when I said we're going to say we're taking Trump to court, you know that you can bank on it, and I'm going to mean it. And I say that because for every lawsuit that's been happening, we are missing out on opportunities of either telling the court that Virginia deserves to have the money that's been earmarked and allocated and appropriated to her by Congress. We want to let the courts know that we're not going to stand here and watch our federal employees have jobs taken away improperly. We're not going to stand here and let the veterans of this nation who fought for this country be threatened to have their resources taken away from them. We're not going to stand here and allow good people who have worked hard for that Social Security to have that money taken away with them. And we're certainly not going to let our seniors suffer, that Medicare and families that we know rely on Medicaid to be victim of this idea that DOJ created of government efficiency. Because let's be honest, I'm a prosecutor, Staunton and Augusta Dems. I know fraud, and this is not how you do it. So we're going to fight back at every point we have missed out on. We're going to fight back for the battles that we know are going to be coming down the pike come December 31st, and we're going to be ready to go, because you know when you vote for Shannon Taylor, there is not going to be any training day. I'm going to be ready day one, and we're going to tackle this administration, Donald Trump and Elon Musk. Get ready, because Shannon Taylor is coming for you. So now, Chris, I know we had some questions that were submitted, and I don't know if we get to do any fun part. You're just going to kind of talk about the ones out there. There were so many, and there's no way for me to encapsulate it in a speech. But I do want to be respectful of the way that the questions have been formed, and so I can answer them for the crowd.
All right. Let's see. Considering the destruction of the Civil Rights Division of the DOJ and the targeting of minority and or vulnerable communities by the Trump administration, please list some actions you will take in response of these on these attacks on civil rights and voting rights in order to protect Virginians if you are elected Attorney General.
Yes, thank you. And I'll tell you, when we had our previous Democratic administration under Mark Herring, we had units like voter protection and the civil rights unit. Jason Miyares just thought, well, I'm going to call this voter integrity. And like I like to say, I don't know what kind of definition of integrity he uses, but it's not the way this current administration has been acting when it's been coming to properly being on the voting rolls, how we are protecting voters when they come to the polling precincts. And as you might not know, being the Commonwealth Attorney of a locality, we are responsible for that safety. In Henrico, we do tabletop and we talk about all the different things that we think might happen and what is the pecking order of how things should unfold. But what I can also tell you is that when we look to see what happened in November 2024, I can't believe that the governor thought that he could just go ahead and start removing people off of the roll for probation violations. I'm thankful that the Virginia NAACP stepped in and said, you shouldn't be doing that. But you know what? If Jason Miyares had been doing his job, he would have told the governor right then and there that you couldn't do it. It was against the law. So the NAACP should never have had to go to court. Because if you had an attorney general doing their job, they would have said that was improper. Now, what we know is that we are going to see the tactics from November of 24. They're going to do it again because, again, let's be honest, this is the last opportunity for this administration and Trump through Youngkin impacting the Commonwealth of Virginia. And remember, while we've got 2 governor's races, there's only 1 contested AG race in the nation this year. So everybody's going to be watching to see what happens in Virginia. And I will also tell you this, that Trump can talk about, removing DEI in all of our institutions, but that does not mean that we ever give up the constitutional protections against discrimination. And it doesn't mean that we should ever take any action that removes history from what either we be children, we be adults, that we should not want to understand how we've lived in the last 400 years, 200 years, last 60 years, to know how we as a society can be better moving forward. And so you can get again a promise from Shannon Taylor that I'm going to make sure that, again, the Constitution and the rule of law will be upheld in voting rights, in civil rights. I will be that protector.
All right, well, I think you answered several questions all at the same time. Thank you. You made my job a lot easier. All right, and do you support reversing Youngkin's anti-environmental and probably illegal decision to withdraw from RGGI, the Regional Greenhouse Gas Initiative?
So the good news is that when we had the legislative action that put that all into place, and Youngkin by order removed Virginia, right, removed us from participation, he was taken to court. And we know that I believe it was earlier, I can't remember if it was the end of last year or earlier this year, Youngkin was told he was wrong. And so we are involved in that legislation. But let's not fool ourselves. To the extent that there is going to be any type of impact from the federal level that will challenge any actions on the state level, we need to make sure that we are being truthful to the regulatory scheme that is set up in this Commonwealth, to the regulatory scheme that is set up to protect many issues, whether it be environmental issues, regulatory systems that are set up to protect the things we place in the body, regulatory systems that are put in place regarding where we want to place our loved ones in care, whether it be a child in daycare or our loved ones in a nursing home. It is going to be my job as part of the Attorney General's office to enforce the regulations that are put into place, and I will ensure that.
All right, how would you reduce gun violence and increase school and community safety in Virginia?
Well, the good news is we're already doing this in Henrico County. We have a youth group within the county management structure, and we have been talking to schools, and we talk to our NGO partners and our faith community, and we are looking for those opportunities of intercept where we can be proactive in the guidance of our young people to good, healthy decision making. We are prosecuting in Henrico County those people who are that are prohibited from having firearms, and we are enforcing the law when it comes to those people who should not possess firearms, and certainly to the degree of violent crimes, we are prosecuting them as well. I believe that when we look at a statewide system, that we're going to be able to have that type of conversation with our localities to ensure that we are giving them the support, whether it be support from the AG's office, where I will have an assistant attorney general, not so unlike what I did as a special assistant U.S. attorney when I prosecuted gun cases in federal court under Project Exile and Project Safe Neighborhood, but also making sure that as the Attorney General, we are doing the good work of that community engagement. And because I am local government, and because I have been the past president of the Prosecutors Association, and I do have the connections with my 120 colleagues across this Commonwealth, I have those relationships where I will be able to be an effective advocate in setting up great programs to keep the Commonwealth safe.
Sweetie, I'm so sorry. We got it.
Okay, so I apparently have to be in Charlottesville for another candidate forum, but I will be back because when we win this primary, it's going to be my greatest pleasure to come and see everybody again. I do want to give a special shout out to my buddy Ken Mitchell, who has been so gracious with his support and his endorsement. He knows he's got my back, I've got his, and we will continue to work forward so that he wins again for the midterms in November of 26. All right, so thank you all very much. Sorry.
All right. Marla, did you want to say something about some signups?
Okay, so Shannon said we have a lot of work to do before the elections, and to help the Staunton Democratic Committee achieve all the goals that we have set, we need volunteers. So I'm going to pass out some sign-up sheets. You can sign up for as many little tasks as you'd like. More than one person can sign up for a task. So help me fill these out.
This is not optional. All right. So let's see. Michaela, Ken Mitchell. Did John Baber, is he here? Nope. Okay. So anyways, I'm going to emphasize, just like Shannon Taylor did, getting out and voting in this June 17th or early voting primary. You got to do it. You got to do it. So why don't we go with Ken Mitchell first? We'll get you mic'd up.
Okay.
Whatever pocket you want.
Good evening, everyone. How's everybody tonight? Was Shannon not fantastic? And I have to tell you, I can't full-throated endorse a candidate right now. But let me tell you what I observed in 2024 when I was working hard out there on the campaign trail. And I would look up, and about every 7, 8, 9 events that I would do, I would look up and Shannon Taylor would be there. And then I thought to myself, my goodness, not only does she have to cover the 6th congressional district, but she has 10 other districts she has to cover as well throughout the state. And also, she was the Commonwealth Attorney for Henrico County. And that's not a small county, my friends. So when she told you today that she has leadership, that she has management, that she has all the skill sets, day one, to be our Attorney General, I think she is 100% on target. So I cannot give her a full-throated endorsement right now, but I have to tell you she is an extremely, extremely qualified candidate, and I'm sure that she will do quite well. I want to talk just a minute about 2025 and what that means, because my full endeavor begins in January of 26. But what can I do in 2025 that will be meaningful? And that's to get out and support Michaela and all of the candidates that have stepped forward as House delegate candidates out here throughout the 6th district. And I know that they are working hard, and I will support them in any way that I possibly can. And I also will support The state level candidates, Abigail running for governor, my goodness, what a candidate we have. 6 candidates running for lieutenant governor, all very strong, and whenever the candidate emerges, I will roll my sleeves up and work 100% to get them elected. And then obviously we have 2 candidates running for attorney general, both strong candidates, but we have we have fielded excellent candidates, all from the House delegate all the way through state level. So I will be out working hard in the 6th district for them and be a surrogate for them to speak and be active in their campaigns. And then what that is doing for me is it will allow me to get to a lot of the nether regions that I did not have the time to get to in 2024. So I'll be out to the small towns and cities, not always the big ones, and working there to just meet people where they're at. Not poking a stick in a Republican's eye, but saying, welcome, I am glad to see you, I'm glad to be with you, and we're in this fight together. Because the R's, the D's, and the I's behind our names, it's time we stand up, be Virginians and be Americans and support Virginia and America, not these parties. So that's what I'm shooting for. I looked out last year and I saw a lot of the candidates that were very serious about the offices that they were running for, working the year before they went in to the races that they are running for. I'm doing the same thing. I'm out here every day throughout this district. I was in Harrisonburg yesterday. The day before that, I was in Winchester, and I was down in Roanoke. So I'm staying very active throughout the district, making sure that I'm listening to what the people have to say. Because I don't learn anything when I'm talking. I learn when I'm listening. So I've put myself, and one of the skill sets I have honed over these past several months is my listening skills. And I can tell you, many of us are out here doing hard work for our democracy. We look up here and we see that our courts are holding, right? And that is one guardrail. The second guardrail we have that's working is the people. People standing up for their democracy, having their voices heard, and collectively making sure that we support and defend this democracy. But I want to say one thing, and that's to each and every one of you. Make sure that as we are in this together, in this fight together, that we take care of one another and that you take care of yourself individually. Don't feel if you put your phone down or you turn the television off and you don't listen to all the news and all the stuff that's going on for a little bit. That's a good thing. Go out for a walk. Take care of yourself. Check in on your neighbors. Make sure that they're doing okay. And let's just all remember, this is not going to be a short foot race. This is going to be a marathon that we're in. I think we're in day 121 or something like that. I know it seems like 2 years, but it's 120 something days, I think. So anyway, make sure that you take care of yourself, check in on your neighbors, and then when we all get together, let's all show them what Democrats can do here. And just as Shannon stated, this is a very, very winnable district. But what we've got to do is we've got to show up as Democrats, and we've got to come up in numbers, and we've got to vote. And that will change the tide for us. And I cannot tell you how proud I am and how humble I am to be out seeking the nomination as your next congressman. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to Chris and let the House delegate candidate, I'm assuming, Michaela, come up and do her thing. Thank you so much.
So Ken Mitchell is a pretty amazing guy. I think he's actually a bit of a time traveler because I swear on the same day he has appeared in multiple protests all up and down the 6th District at the same time. Can I have a little bit of that that talent? Yeah. All right. And speaking of strong candidates, one interesting fact is that this year, which is the first time in many years, we have 100, all 100 House of Delegates districts have Democratic candidates fighting for their constituents. Yeah. So usually the pattern is we have most of the districts covered, but not all of them. This year, people are pissed off, and people are standing up. And we have one person in the back of the room, Michaela Venable, who is, I am very proud to say, is our delegate for House District 36.
Hi, good evening, friends. My name is Michaela Venable, and I'm running to be your delegate because I believe in a simple but powerful idea that government should work for the people and not just for the powerful. I grew up in a community where neighbors looked out for each other, where we believed that hard work should be met with opportunity, and that no one should be left behind simply because of their zip code, their income, or the color of their skin. But somewhere along the way, that promise was broken, and it's time we fix it. I'm running as a progressive because I believe in power and people-powered change. That means Medicare for all, because healthcare is a human right, not a privilege. It means a Green New Deal because the climate crisis won't wait, and neither should we. It means housing as a human right, a living wage for every worker, reproductive freedom, and a democracy that works for all of us, not just the billionaires and the lobbyists. So, just a little bit about me personally. I was raised by my grandmother, and my grandmother worked at the United States Postal Service, and so she needed a little help with me outside of school. So I went to the Boys and Girls Club. I went to all these communities, and I went to summer camp and all this stuff. And I understand the importance of communities coming together. And so that's why I am a big supporter of the Boys and Girls Club and all these communities that are threatened by these federal cuts. So yeah, thank you. So yeah, like I said, I was raised by my grandmother who worked at the Postal Service. I was at the Postal Service with her, so I helped her work a little bit. But yeah, that's why because my little cousins, my friends, and their children have all been beneficiaries of going to these communities where they raise your kids. So yeah. That's why all this is very important to me, because I understand how important it is that we come together as a community. Because we have, just listening to some of the students, I thought maybe I was different because I wasn't raised in a two-parent household. But just talking to some of the students and some of the other children a lot of them aren't raised by two-parent households. They're raised by their grandmothers, their aunts, and all this stuff. And that's why that's important to me, because I understand just how important it is to have these programs where they empower us and they love us enough that we don't necessarily feel the impact of maybe not having a mother or a father in our life. So that's why this is very important to me, because you can be what you want to be. Your community can help shape the person that you are, and this community, especially District 36, helped shape the person that I am. So that's what I wanted to say. So thank you so much. So that's all I have to say.
All right. Let's see. No John Baber yet? Oh, there you are. Okay. Come on up.
Hey everyone, I feel like when I showed up late for class in college. All right, now we're right around the corner, yet when you got like childcare issues with your little kid, you end up like stuck. Or you could come disrupt this meeting, which would be cool. While the potential congressman sitting here talking, future congressman, we could give you a baby and see if you could get him to stop crying. You know? Yeah. Again, for any of you that don't know me, my name is John Baber. I'm running for Commonwealth's Attorney in the city of Staunton as an independent because I believe that's the way the job is supposed to be done, and believe in such crazy things as upholding the Constitution and a fair trial for everybody. It's wild that you say kind of baseline things like that and get such a reaction out of people, but I truly believe in the power of the process of the justice system, and they call it procedural justice, and a big part of it is an open public courtroom, transparency of actions. People have a say in things. They know why things are happening. That's really the importance, again, of defense attorneys and public defenders, because the defendant deserves to know why each step is happening. At the end, I've almost never met a criminal defendant from my time as a public defender or as a prosecutor that was fairly informed and involved in the steps of his trial that didn't at least accept the outcome of it afterwards. And that's the point of the justice system. I've seen people unhappy with the result. That's fine, but they shouldn't be unhappy with the process. And so a lot of that is why I'm running for Commonwealth's Attorney. Additionally, I'm out knocking on doors in this community, so this is a bit of a status update, person to person. I love it, getting to meet people outside the criminal justice bubble who go to work, come home, have no involvement, don't want involvement, don't know what the Commonwealth Attorney's Office is, and it's great to meet these people and tell them that I'm going to come back and see them again, or I'm going to tell them how the office is doing, or they're going to hear from me in the office again. I think there's a lot of transparency that could happen with the Commonwealth Attorney's Office that involves the process in our town. And that's what I want to bring, is a sense of community. In the end, the Commonwealth Attorney works for the people, which is, again, why I'm running as independent. It works for everyone in this town. And the Commonwealth Attorney is supposed to uphold the community's conscience. It's supposed to uphold the laws of the state, but it's supposed to use its discretion to uphold the community's conscience. So, you talk to people and you talk about the problem of homelessness or drug addiction, mental illness, and there's sure a way you can prosecute a simple trespass according to the law, but you got to take the person's condition into account, and that's where knowing the community's conscience comes into play as you figure out what to do with people, because people aren't numbers. This is not math or science. Like, the funny thing about the law is it's rather squishy, because it depends on the person it's dealing with a lot in their situation. That's why if you talk to any lawyer and you try to pigeonhole them with a question, they'll usually give the lawyer answer of, it depends. Because it does depend on so much. And you figure out in the community what it depends on by going out and talking to the people, which is what I've been doing. One of the main things I want to do if and when I'm elected is have a yearly State of the Commonwealth Attorney's address so that people continue to hear what we're doing, and I continue to hear from the people about what they want and need out of the prosecutor's office. So it's been really exciting talking to people. I'm a tenth of the way to knocking on all the doors I want. I have like a schedule to maybe knock on 4,000 doors in this town myself. It sounds like a lot. If you break it down by weeks and everything, I got to do like 150 doors a weekend. It's actually rather manageable to stay disciplined. Again, it's better than my diet, but it is exciting, and I think the people deserve it, and that's what I feel grateful for about running in a small town is the chance to literally go out there and meet everybody. Democracy in action. So thank you for your support. Thank you for your attention. We now have a bunch of signs that we've ordered. If anyone's interested in one, I'd love to give you one, put one in your yard, see me afterwards. That stuff matters. Again, this is like a true local election, and I know we're all upset about what's happening nationally, and sometimes I've talked to people when I'm knocking on doors that say, like, I didn't even vote. I don't know, in 30 million votes, like, what did it matter? I was busy. And sure, if more people voted that said, what does it matter, there would be a huge difference, but I'll tell you it matters here. You know how many votes I think I need to win in Staunton? 5,000. My study of the data says I need 5,000 votes to win. The votes here in this room matter. Signs matter. Talking to your neighbors matter. I can meet so many people, but your help matters, and your encouragement's mattered so far. And this is my first race, and it's been exciting. I love getting to start and get the encouragement, or have people say, hey, I saw your sign over there, and that feels good. Again, much like I talk about the process in the courtroom and how that matters, how I run matters, whether or not I win. I hope to win, but I hope to run the way that says this is how you run in a small town. So thank you very much. Thanks for your attention. Thank you, Chris.
All right, who else wants to run for something? All right, Reese. Well, you live in Augusta County, so sorry. All right, so I guess at this point we have some choices. We can either do a Q&A session, or we could. Sorry about this, internet people, but we could cut the YouTube stream, and we could all just mingle and talk to the candidates and sign up for being a volunteer, which, again, is not optional. So what do you think? What do you want to do? The question was about body cams for the Staunton police.
So that, I think you were getting Staunton and Augusta County confused, maybe. Augusta County, I think, doesn't have them or is just getting them. Staunton's had them since I've been here in 2019. Yeah, and I'll tell you just a bit on body cameras. They're amazing. It's a protection for the police. It's not just like an accountability tool for the population. It's protection for the police. There's nothing better than saying, hey, that didn't happen, here's how it happened, etc. As juries and everybody wants more camera footage, this is good for everybody. More crimes have been solved using cameras than troubles have been made. I am a huge supporter of body cameras. I'm grateful that I practice in a jurisdiction that has them. Okay.
All right. We have another question for who? Mr. Baber. Okay.
Hi. What about our homeless situation and the encampments in Staunton? I don't know how legal it is, but people are sleeping on benches, and so.
I first want to say I feel embarrassed, like overshadowing Mr. Mitchell, who obviously, has had an accomplished career. It's funny how powerful local things are like this. What about? I call those kind of ills of the human condition. What about it? It's all of our issue, and those things aren't as simple as wishing them away or putting people on a bus and driving them to the city limits. Sure, there are laws, no trespassing in Gypsy Hill during the nighttime, and there's certain hours. There are shelters. I spoke with a city council person today who's talking about working about opening a day shelter. Michelle Edwards was talking about that. There are lots of options. Some is an option of free will. Whether or not people want to go to a shelter, there are usually rules at shelters. Some people don't want to follow, or I know in bigger cities there are, same-sex shelters, and so a couple doesn't want to split up and go to different shelters. There's the autonomy of being a human being that says sometimes, and then human beings sleep, so they end up on a flat surface like a bench. There's that versus garbage, or there's been like kind of tent encampments. There was out by the old Desjardins facility just for years before that property got kind of cleared out. Those are large kind of macro social issues that the Commonwealth Attorney has a part in. One thing I'd like to do is the Commonwealth Attorney's office has never been involved outside their office. They get crimes, they prosecute them, that's it. I'd like to see them as part of an interdisciplinary committee with mental health professionals, with the police, with city council, with other people talking about how to solve a lot of these issues. And it's not just because my heart bleeds and, I feel a connection to other human beings. It makes financial sense to find an alternative to jail. Jail's what we do when we don't know what else to do with somebody. But that costs a bunch of money, and it's not fair or right. And it doesn't solve the problem. It kicks the can, So one thing I do is humble myself in the office enough to go get involved with others that aren't lawyers and say, what do we do and how do I help? Before I sit down again, does anybody else have?
Is that real, or are you just raising your hand in excitement?
I just want to know how your talk went with the Republicans, because you were saying you came here first, then you were going to go to the Republicans.
I'll take the mic for all the people online. I did go to the Staunton Republican meeting and met with all 7 of them. And I got to tell you, it's more important to me, no offense, than being here. I feel like in 2025, I'm a reasonable person. You're reasonable people. It's easy to connect with you. Going and talking to the other side, they started by reading a Virginia Republican creed. Yeah. And guess what? I agreed with everything they said. I did. I agreed with everything they said. I think it was written back in the Reagan era. I talked about upholding the Constitution and limited government and other things. Like I sat there and I stood up and said, I agree with everything you just read. It is not their Facebook page. It was just normal citizens and neighbors, and it was really interesting. They were as receptive as you folks were. I said all the same things. I told them I didn't vote for Donald Trump. I didn't. I didn't make a big deal out of it, but I didn't want to lie to them, or lecture them. And they're neighbors of yours, and it's hard to act hateful when you stare somebody in the face. It's easy to do so over social media. They were great, over really well. And honestly, we all have more in common with each other than we think. We all want the same things. There's so many people that live in the middle in this country, and it's like, it's fun to live out on the fringes and yell at each other. It feels good for a moment, but that's like a cheap sugar high. Most people live in the middle, and that's where they all were as human beings. They agreed with all the same goals, so it went fantastic, and I think I got 7 votes out of the meeting. So.
Oh,
Hi. Oh, yeah. I'm Andrea Jackson. I'm from Waynesboro, so I'm not familiar at all with Staunton politics. So, is there, are you like a challenger? Is there like a Commonwealth attorney that is currently holding this position that you're running against? And what are some of your, I guess, platform or like that you would be doing that? I mean, not to try to make it like, dirty or anything that, I mean, I guess some of the things that you would be doing that you want to do better, or, I mean, I don't know necessarily, like, what is the, like the dynamics of the politics of the town?
I'm getting my exercise.
So I currently work in Waynesboro as an assistant Commonwealth attorney for a great guy named David Ledbetter, who's also an independent. And I live here in Staunton. I used to work in the Staunton Commonwealth Attorney's office. The person I'm running against was my former colleague. The current Commonwealth Attorney is retiring at the end of the year. The current Commonwealth Attorney, Jeff Gaines, was the deputy who inherited the job without challenge from a guy named Ray Robertson, who was the Commonwealth Attorney since I think I was born or before. And maybe Ray was challenged once when I was young, and then never again. And then Jeff took over without challenge and ran 2 terms. And now the current deputy, who's my age and my experience, would like to just take over without challenge. And this is not a job to be inherited. This is a job to be earned. Things don't change when it's inherited. This is an office that is living in the late 90s or early 2000s. They are siloed off. Nobody knows anything about them. They don't interact with the community. They don't go to city council meetings. They don't explain to the public what's happening on the front end. They just kind of give the newspaper a little soundbite on the back end. And I think I could sum my candidacy up with community. Community. I'm a representative in court. When somebody is a victim of a crime and I prosecute that crime, I am prosecuting for everybody. I'm prosecuting because the laws of the Commonwealth are broken. When the laws of the Commonwealth are broken, it hurts our social fabric, and there are certain consequences for that. So it's something that everybody has to know about and be involved with and know who I am. It's an important elected position. It's also a constitutional office in Virginia, meaning the Staunton Commonwealth Attorney doesn't have a boss except the voters. That's powerful. Literally no boss except the voters. And so my signs say community-focused, justice-driven. That's what I am. You have to do the job, but at the same time, you have to do it for the people. The easy parts, prosecuting's super hard, but that's what I went to law school for. That's what I have 12 years of experience doing, is practicing criminal law. The hard part is getting out there and owning up to my mistakes, celebrating my victories appropriately, and explaining to you folks the trends about what's happening and what we can do and what I can't do and why, and keeping people informed so that people know, like when you asked about homelessness and what can be done, that I can give people an answer, some solace, or say, hey, a lot can be done and we need your help. It's easy to not have to answer when you hang out in a courthouse and you don't come to places like this or city council meetings or anything else. So my platform's community. Additionally, my platform is a bunch of baseline stuff, fair trials. It is more training for the police, something that they haven't received. They did the few years I was an assistant Commonwealth attorney here. They got roll call trainings because I used to be a trainer at the Baltimore Police Academy. So when I came, I said, who's training the police? Who's giving them the legal update? Nobody. Okay, well, let me get in there. So I went and met them at 7 a.m. and gave them refresher courses on things. I went and presented the new Virginia law updates every year. And then when I left the office, guess who went and did it? Nobody. And if I don't get elected, guess who's going to go do it? Nobody. And they deserve the investment. The police department does a great job. This isn't, they need to be trained more. They want to be trained more. They have questions about car searches, about serving warrants. They want the training. That's something I'll bring to the table as a comprehensive continuing legal education. I got to do it as a lawyer. They're law enforcement officers. They want to do it as police. The safest police is a well-trained police. They risk their lives every day and subject themselves to civil liability every day if they make mistakes. If they make the wrong mistake, they can get sued. And so then you wonder why we're having a hard time getting more officers to be officers, because it's a high-stakes job for not enough pay. I'd like to give them more tools and then lobby city council for more money for them so that we can keep the best officers. So those are some of the things I offer. Involvement in every way. My involvement in the police, my involvement in the community. The other person isn't going to do that. They've demonstrated they don't do that. And it takes more than owning a house in this town to be a member of the community.
I'm Eric Milnes, and I'm going to stir the pot a little bit. When a federal law enforcement officer enters a jurisdiction and they refuse to identify themselves, can the local law enforcement demand their IDs?
So I'm going to tell you what I told a prominent defense attorney in court where he got me out in the hallway and he asked me, well, what if this happened? And I'll tell you to start, no offense. I think it's a dangerous thing to play legal hypothetical and just give you an opinion without more facts. And I appreciate the question. I know the worry in the community about federal overreach into state courts. I know a lot of people read about ICE agents going into Albemarle County Courthouse and what happened. And first, you cross your fingers and hope that doesn't happen here, and then you got to have a plan as well. There's no better way than to beg for somebody to come test you than to announce your plan up front, honestly, in this day and age. I will tell you a general baseline that'll give you as close to an answer as I can, which is and this goes back to civil liability for law enforcement, why they need training. When law enforcement steps outside the bounds of the Fourth Amendment or the Constitution in bad faith, they lose the presumptions of good faith and the protections from civil liability, and they end up being liable to be charged for crimes like a regular person. And I'll give you an example. If I without any probable cause, and no reason to think I have probable cause, go in your pockets and start searching you or put cuffs on you. If I do, as a private citizen, what do we call that? Assault, okay? And I'd say the same thing. Officers sometimes get charged that way. I don't ever want that to happen because that involves bad faith from a uniformed officer, which is a really tough place to be. And I don't think we have those officers in Staunton whatsoever. We have officers that use good faith, and they want and need more training. But when people step outside the Constitution, they are liable to get charged by anybody else. But one of the beautiful things about being a local elected official running as an independent is I hope and pray I don't have to answer those sort of questions, but at the same time, I have the legal acumen, the decision-making ability, and the pulse on the community to be able to answer those questions if and when they're presented to me. Okay?
You got a question for Ken?
Thank you for your time.
Oh my goodness.
Ken, thank you for your patience.
Yeah, come on up here. I'll get some more exercise. I'll be right back.
Ken, you've been up and down the valley and up and down the valley and up and down the valley. What are you feeling is the mood? I mean, we all kind of pat each other on the back and believe each other, but we're not out there like you are. What do you see as the mood for the primaries for the 2025?
Excellent question. Like you say, we can go into friendly places and we can pat each other on the back and we can say, hey, all is looking good. My interaction, we have a lot of people a bit apprehensive right now, the way things are going. And it is not, obviously if you see MAGA, they feel emboldened. They feel like if they have won and we're going to take the spoils. But when you go out and you talk to independents, you talk to Republicans that are relatively moderate, it's pretty common. We are concerned about the rule of law, the obvious overreach that we have seen by the government, by the administration, let me say. When we have an attorney general that feels as if they are Trump's attorney and not the people's attorney, and we see some of the stuff that is occurring. However, people are very, I don't want to say happy, but I want to say that they are quite relieved when they see how the courts are holding the bounds for what they're doing. I think we've got like 140 cases or 100, something in that number that are in the court systems for the executive orders that are being signed. So I think a lot of what we see are the common good, standing in the middle, as you indicated, that a lot of people are saying, look, we understand our constitutional values, our constitutional norms, and we are not for seeing them being attacked as they are. So I think they have a lot more faith in our court systems and what they're doing to uphold the rule of law. We see a lot of, there's just a lot of chaos out there, and I think people are looking to find just balance within what they're doing. Nobody in this room wants to see a fraud, waste, and abuse of our government. But nobody wants to be gaslit about what that fraud, waste, and abuse is. It's amazing to me. It was every day we heard when Elon Musk was in the picture about, oh, look at what we found here. We found $150 billion worth of fraud. Well, no, we didn't find that. We found in the order of about $2 billion worth of waste and fraud. Well, not really. So I think what we see is people looking for and standing up and supporting our rule of law, our Constitution, and nobody signed up for what we're getting out of this administration. So as I go up and down the valley, what I hear is a lot of people saying, I'm ready for things to just kind of normalize. And what we need is leadership out here that is well-balanced, has integrity, has character, and is going to work for the people. So I think that's kind of what I'm finding as I travel throughout the district. And that's what we're going to try to do, is bring some balance to what we've got, bring some normalcy to what we have. And there are ways to change what we don't like, but we've got to do it within the bounds of changing the Constitution, not through executive order and fiat. Okay? Thank you.
Yeah, I think that's why Medicaid is such an issue both on the right and left sides, because it affects everyone. And nobody wants to hurt their neighbors or see their families get hurt, thrown out of nursing homes. So that is a common concern amongst both sides of the aisle. Any more questions or one more? For me? Oh my gosh. That's a very good and common question. By our own rules, all Democratic committees, starting at the top, the DPVA, down to the local committees, are not allowed to endorse any particular primary candidate. Now, once we have a nominee, yeah, then full force ahead. So, I mean, theoretically, I could tell you just person to person outside of my position as chair of the Staunton Democrats what my opinion is. But standing up here, I can't really give you any guidance. And, that's part of the reason why Ken said the same thing. And I'm sure if you talk to any of the other Democratic leaders in Virginia, they would tell you the same thing. What on our website, and I'll be sending this out in the newsletter, our wonderful newsletter, hopefully tomorrow, links to our candidates page on our website, and that will provide links to not only the candidates' websites, but also their Blue Sky, links. And oftentimes, the Blue Sky information on a candidate is very revealing. Victor Salgado, he plays bass, electric bass. I had no idea. And he is really good at it. And I discovered that on Blue Sky. But kidding aside, I wish I could tell everybody, vote for candidate X, Y, and Z, but I'm not supposed to do that. So. Yes. So June 10th, we haven't nailed down exactly how that's going to happen, but Ghazala Hashmi, who is a senator from Henrico. Okay. She's in the General Assembly. Her past histories in higher education, and she's like the first Muslim legislator in Virginia. She actually came to talk with Ken, I believe, last June 25th at Ciders from Mars, our reproductive rights event there. So we're trying to get as many of these candidates to Staunton, but probably not going to be able to get all of them before the primary. So you just got to buckle down, do the research, see what you like, and vote accordingly. Well, we're trying to decide whether she's actually going to come here or whether we're going to be doing a large Zoom type virtual meeting. Okay, so we got to nail that down. Yeah. And I think, Ann, you had. Oh, okay. Okay. Oh, you again. Yeah, so we're trying to, we're actively trying to get signs from everybody. At this point, nobody has a whole bunch of signs to give us. Okay. Well, I didn't know that. So thank you. Thank you. Yeah. So I'll check that out tomorrow. I'll stop by the office. And Andrea, you have a question? Yes, we started a good while ago, even before the petition deadline, to try to contact them, and now of course a couple of people I think did not make it through the petition process for lieutenant governor, so we are trying, but Virginia is a fairly sizable state. Everybody wants them, and so we do what we can. Yeah. Okay. Double dipping is okay. Any and all. Yeah. Ideally, we were trying to entice people here by cooperating with other committees to try to get them so that they're having a tour of the area, not just us, but a stop in Waynesboro, a stop here, a stop in Lexington, Harrisonburg. But that takes a lot of coordination, and it was only just 2 months ago when we got through the petition process. So I mean, things like move really fast, and here we are. We're less than a month away to the primary. So yeah, candidates have a lot of work to do, a lot of traveling, and they have to, I guess, try to make decisions on where they go and get the most bang for their buck, I guess. So yes, we are trying to get them for the entire area. And that's why we're also live streaming today, because we wanted as many people as possible outside of, Staunton, Augusta, Waynesboro to hear Shannon Taylor. So that's another way of expanding the reach. Yeah. Yeah. All right. Well, I'm exhausted. So. So anyways, I think we ought to just go ahead and end the live stream. I would say I think we have some press people here who I'm sure want to talk with the candidates. Let's just mingle and, oh, one more question. Yeah, I have to, there were some, I think some slightly different hours on the notification I got from Bath County regarding the protest tomorrow in front of Ben Klein's office in Staunton. So I'll be sending out first thing in the morning, and I think you're on our email list, so you should get that. Hopefully it doesn't go to your spam folder, but always check your spam folders. So, all right. And Michaela, you've been kind of quiet. Do you want to say anything about any of these questions? No, you're good? All right, great. Well, thank you, YouTubers, and we'll see you at another date.